Man, there's a lot I'm going to probably get off my chest tonight. I want to start out by saying one positive thing before we get into what we got to get into. This was a ton better than last year's World's End. So I want to start off by saying that. Last year's World's End, I was in attendance at the Nassau Coliseum, and it was a complete bore fest. It was just awful. You just felt like this dark cloud over the company, and nothing really jumped off of that show to me. There was no excitement. There was nothing going into it. There was nothing coming out of it. It was just very, very grim at that point. We're not doing much better here in 2024 going into 25, but I will say tonight's show was a lot better than last year's. That's my positive. We will get into the rest of the show tonight, but I'm going to leave the floor to you, Jesse. We're going to get right into it. What do you want to start off to talk about here tonight in regards to World's End?
So there's two that I'm thinking about, but I'm just gonna pick one and roll with that one. Let's roll with the main event. So all right, I don't know how to approach this, but I'm like you. I'm gonna start off with the positives. The positives is there was okay. I don't know if I have much positive.
This man is struggling to find a positive about this terrible main event that we saw tonight.
I'm trying to find something. I mean, I don't know if I have anything positive for it, man. I really don't. It felt like it was completely overbooked. It felt like it didn't really have any structure to the story when they got done telling it. When they get to the end of it, when you get FTR coming out and them bringing out Edge, Adam Copeland. My first reaction was, what does FTR have to do with this? And then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. They took out FTR and everything else, so that's why FTR came out. But I'm like, is that the whole reason of them taking out FTR? So they had a way to introduce Copeland back into the mix? But I thought Copeland would be wasn't done with Christian Cage at that point, though. So I'm trying to figure out, what does Christian Cage have to do with the main event segment? Because we know he has the contract. Okay, great, because they kept showing him. But then they brought Adam Copeland back because now he's interested in Moxley in the main event scene, which I'm not sure how that works out because the guy's been gone all year. But somehow it's not, I mean, clearly it's going to be Moxley and Copeland. But now we get the Christian Cage factor with the contract. And the whole thing was complete. When the show was over, this is my whole point. When the show was over, I was left a little bit lost of what I was supposed to be focused on. Christian Cage, Copeland, they already set up the 6-man tag for FTR rated R versus the Death Riders. But how does Copeland just jump into this just because FTR got beat up? It feels like the problem is, this is the main storyline. This is the main event storyline. FTR has been treated like jobbers for weeks. And now all of a sudden they're in a main event picture because they know Adam Copeland and they're his next door neighbor or some shit. I don't understand how this is all supposed to be coming together storyline-wise.
I wish I could tell you, bro. I honestly wish I could tell you. I don't even know where to begin with this. First of all, the main event was terrible. We knew that. We knew that coming in. Jay White, love Jay White. Fucking adore the guy. He's so great. Orange Cassidy, I mean, whatever. He's a very subjective topic amongst wrestling fans for one reason or another. I don't have a problem with him like other people do. They lose sleep over this fucking guy's gimmick. I don't give a shit. Does he belong there? No. He got his ass beat by the fucking Death Riders at the last pay-per-view. He didn't belong there, so he's still hanging around. Adam Page, I don't believe, you know what, you want to know what my first thought about this entire shit show was? I don't believe Adam Page feels this insignificant out of everybody that was in the ring tonight. I don't believe he was sacrificed for this fucking garbage storyline and this stupid fucking overbooked mess of a main event. Adam Page, I am going to say this until I am blue in the fucking face. how this man is not the world champion after what we saw coming out of the summer and going on into the fucking blood and guts match and then into All Out is fucking mind-boggling to me. I don't get it. I don't understand it. That aura is dead. Dead. Adam Page was the best fucking character you had across this entire show, and he feels as lifeless as anything all year. How could you fucking be okay with that aspect alone? I don't get it. You sacrificed him for what? FTR? The Death Riders? I don't understand this. This is a product of a company and a fucking CEO who wants what he wants, and that's it. Bryan winning the world championship was a great moment, but you derailed literally everything that followed because you made that one decision to put him in the main event of All In and have him win the world championship. So Page suffers, Swerve suffers. I don't believe Swerve and Page, who legitimately is probably top 2 feud of all time in 5 years, feels this insignificant, Jesse. That's the problem I have with this shit. And you know how much we've hyped up Adam Page and the fact that he should have ended Bryan's reign and run and retired him and all this other nonsense. And this is what we get at the end of the year, man. He's going into 2025 limping with no direction at all on television.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. They had Hangman in a spot to be the guy, and that's gone. I don't know what happened there. That just fizzled out, and they just gave him L after L. He's not booked as strong. Nobody cares anymore. I would say I don't know how they keep doing this, but they do it all the time with people who are white hot, and then all of a sudden they fizzle off to nothing. That's how often that happens way too often than it should. But Hangman, they had something. They had something big there, and that's gone. Jay White, they managed to build him up to the point where he makes sense to be around here, but at the same time, it just doesn't feel important enough. Now we got Copeland back. What does that mean for everybody who was in this main event tonight?
I don't know what it means for everybody in the main event. What the fuck does it mean? I mean, what do you think is going to happen here? You see what's playing out here. I mean, how many fucking groups are they going to end up running through before we get to Moxley and Darby Allin at fucking All In? Because you know exactly where it's going to take place. It's their biggest show. It's their WrestleMania. They're going to crown this fucking kid at All In and have him win the world championship. After all of these groups, bro, fall to the Death Riders. By the time we get there, everybody is going to be a fucking wasteland of casualties for Darby Allin. I mean... And you see what they've done with him. Has he been treated as a guy that's going to overtake the fucking Death Riders? I mean, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Moxley bashing. I don't know why. Jon Moxley is absolutely great at what he does, and he's doing great for what he is being given to do. And I think we need to preempt that once again. Our frustrations is not with the talent. All right, it is not about what they are doing in the ring. So if you don't like what's going on with Moxley and everything else with the story, it is not Moxley's fault. He is carrying out what he's being given to do, but what he's given to do is trash.
I mean, people are in the chat saying that Moxley is booking this entire storyline. I don't know who's booking what. I don't care. I don't care. I judge Jesse judges what we see on TV. Whoever is booking it is clearly a fucking hack. I mean, this was terrible. Everybody looks fucking terrible coming out of this. The high spot of the match was Marina Shafir getting a Blade Runner from Jay White. I mean, we set up the end of the pay-per-view, the last pay-per-view of the entire year, went off the air with them hyping up a simulcast on Max for a trios match between Copeland and FTR against the Death Riders on Wednesday's Dynamite. That's what they went off the air with. That's what you end your pay-per-view with. The last pay-per-view, 2024. And then, like Jesse said, we go from the competitors in the ring. Wheeler Useless is in the fucking main event causing havoc in 2024. Whoever made that fucking decision, I mean, he should be fucking fired immediately. We got Adam Copeland out there returning. Love Adam Copeland. Not a bad thing to say ever about Adam Copeland. Rated FTR, whatever the fuck they want to go and call themselves. Fantastic. But then you got Copeland and Moxley. Copeland's making a claim that everything that the Death Riders have is going to be theirs. They want the trios titles. They want the world title, whatever the case may be. Fine. But then you highlight Christian Cage. Christian Cage and Adam Copeland haven't crossed paths at all since Adam Copeland took back the TNT title from Christian Cage. So they haven't crossed paths at all. Christian Cage is just there, Jesse, by happenstance because he holds the contract that he won at All In for the AEW World Championship opportunity that he's yet to cash in. So you clearly see where they're positioning this. Copeland's going to be the next one to get a shot at Moxley. Christian's probably going to cash in to take the title from Moxley and then have the cherry on top because his ex-best friend, he wants to stifle him. He's not going to have him win the championship, so he's going to do whatever he can to get involved with that. And then they're inevitably going to cross paths because of that, and then we'll probably get that feud revisited as well, going on into Revolution or Double or Nothing or, worst case, All In. So you could see where they're going with it, but I mean, none of it is exciting at all. None of it. Like, I have no emotional tie-in to any of these characters because of the last 6 months of story they've told the Death Riders, which has gone nowhere. And casualty, body after body, lining up to a point where we all as a fan base are starting to ask questions. When is enough with this shit? None of it feels like a company takeover. None of it feels like a threat. None of this is resembling, AEW being in trouble. So what are we doing? How is this storytelling? And why are people so hung up on this as the number one story in the company?
I don't know. That's another good point, too. This does not feel like some kind of takeover of the company. And either it's supposed to, and they're failing at it, or they just dropped that part of the story and they kind of want us to forget about it. Either way, it's kind of messed up.
I don't know, man. This is bad. This is bad. The main events, maybe I'm just riddled in old school mentality when it comes to pro wrestling as a fan. The main event is supposed to be the most important thing on the fucking show, and none of this for months has come off as the most important thing on the show. Like, I don't understand. Your main event is the reason why we're all here. This is it. This is what Tony Khan puts out there as this is what the selling point for the show is. A fatal four-way between four characters that nobody could give a fucking shit about at all. Oh, my God, man. 6-man tag team match on Wednesday. How excited are you guys about a 6-man tag team match coming out of this pay-per-view tonight? That means nothing. That means nothing. No. Where are we going? Fuck do I know?